I'm Darlene Walton, and welcome to Lesson 3 of your online harp lessons. I'm still using the Cherry Harpsicle Harp Special Edition from Reese Harps, and I'll be switching to a larger harp soon. Today we're going to learn a lot of new things, so get ready to have some more fun and learn a lot. First of all, we're going to talk about repeats today, and there's several different kinds that you use in your harp music. And they're fairly common, so we want to make sure you know those. The first one is on your papers, and again, please print these out so that you will be able to look at them up close and personal, and you won't have to watch them on the computer if you don't want to. First of all, the common repeat sign here is at the end of the music. We'll pretend like this is a piece of music, and at the end is a repeat, and then it tells you where to go back by putting a forward repeat. This is called a backward repeat, and this is called a forward repeat. So if there is one of these, then that's where you go back to. If it's at the end of a piece and there is no repeat sign there, then that indicates you play the whole song again. And that's also very common in harp music. So that's pretty simple for the first one. The second one you see a lot in songs. They're trying to save space when they're printing the songs, and you see it very frequently in hymn books and such. It's the first and second endings. So you're playing along, you start the song, and you'll notice there's a forward repeat right at the beginning. So you play the song, and then you play the first ending. There's the backward repeat, so you go back, play that section again, skip the first ending, and play the second ending. And these usually occur right at the end of the song, or when they want you to repeat the verse or the chorus. And they're very well marked, so you should be able to tell those when you see them. The next one is written in Latin, da capa al fine, I think is how you pronounce that. And it is denoted by DC al fine here at the end of a piece. Now what that means is to go back to the beginning of the piece. We'll say this is the beginning, and play that piece till you get to the word, most people say fine, but it's supposed to be fine, I believe. Anyway, you play the whole song back to the word fine, and that's the DC al fine, the capa al fine. Then the next one that we're going to talk about is DS al coda. Now this is a little more complicated, so we'll show this to you in the next segment. The next sign is DS al coda. You can also have DS al fine, but I picked the coda because we need to learn that also. It's dal segno and coda. Now, that's also Latin, and it's a little more complicated, so let's go through this. Here's your song. And you go right through until you get to this sign, which is DS al coda. Now, that's denoted by this little circle with two lines through it. When you see that, you go back to this symbol, which looks like a little S that's fancied up with a line and some dots. So you start back there, playing your song, and when you get to this little sign, it'll usually say to coda. Sometimes it just has the sign, and sometimes it will say to coda. And that means you skip right down and play the coda. The coda is the ending of a song, and so it will be right on the end most of the time. Let's go through that one more time. You're playing the song, you play straight through till you get down to DS al coda. Sometimes they'll have a double line here also. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And then when you see that, you go back to this symbol, start playing there, play down to where it says coda, then skip to the coda and play the end of the song. Now we're going to learn some more notes. We're going to learn B, C, and D. We've already learned C, D, E, F, G, and A on our right hand, and now we're going to learn B, C, and D. So this takes in the C above middle C. So now you're going to have two C's that you know. Okay, let's look at them over here. B lives on the third line. If you remember our little poem, it goes, every good boy does fine. So B is the boy. So we have E, G, and B. Now I've got 4 quarter notes there. Remember in our last lesson, we learned the time values for all these notes. So we have 4 quarter notes, we have 2 half notes, and we have a whole note. The next note is C, which is always red. Remember that. And it lives on the third space on the line. Remember, the spaces spell face. So we have F that we learned, A that we learned, and now we have C. And I have 4 quarter notes, 2 half notes, and a full note on C. D is on the next line, so we have, we have every good boy does. So now we have the D, and it lives on that 4th line up. So we have B, C, and D. Okay, so now we're going to just play those. You can practice those on your own. That's just simple, play the same note over and over and over kind of thing, so we won't bore you with that. Now we're going to play these mixed notes, and they're all B's, C's, and D's. But first we're going to go over our hand position to make sure you're playing correctly. Your wrist is straight, so you're either going to shake hands or do the dog paw, straighten your wrist. Your palms are pointed toward the floor. You're going to use this little edge of your finger. Your thumb's going to be over, and your fingers are put away down into your palm. Now we're only going to use our second finger because I didn't put the fingering on this, so we don't want to get you confused. So I'm going to give us a 1, 2, ready, play, and then we're going to play this very slowly, okay? And I will call out the notes for you. 1, 2, ready, play. B, C, D, B, D, 2, C, B, D, C, B, C, 3, 4, C, C, B, B, D, D, C, C, B, 2, C, 4, B, C, B, C, D, C, D, C, D, 2, 3, 4, C, B, 3, 4. Very good. Now we're going to learn 3 notes for our left hand. You already know C, B, A, G, F, and E. Now we're going to learn D and C. Now, if you have a harpsichord, you don't have that B down there. So you can just sit there and relax while we play that, or just pretend like you have it. But that is a common note, and sometimes you might have to leave that out when you're playing, or play it up an octave. You can do that also. But we're going to go ahead and teach you that note because you do need to know that note and where it lives on the staff. And you can play these notes on the piano too, or the flute, or the violin, or the guitar, or any C instrument. So they're really good for you to know, even if you have a smaller harp that doesn't go down below C. Okay, D lives on that third line. So we have good basses don't fall apart. So we have good basses don't is the D. We have quarter notes, half notes, and a whole note. C is on that space. So we have D, and here's the C. Now this is on the second space from the bottom. We already have the A for all, and this is cows, or cars. All cows eat grass, or all cars eat gas. Depends on whether you're a country folk or a city dweller. Okay, so we're going to use cows because I live in the country. So all cows eat grass. There's your C. We have 4 quarter notes, 2 half notes, and a whole note. And then here's the B, which is not down there. So this is your good basses. Good basses don't fall apart. This is your B, quarter notes, half notes, and a whole note. Now we're going to practice those 3 left-hand notes we just learned, D, C, and B. Because I'm playing with a harpsichord and it doesn't go down any lower than this C, I'm going to play these up an octave. So just pretend like they're down here, only we're going to play them up here so you can learn these notes. Okay, I'm going to give you a 1, 2, ready, play, and then we'll begin. 1, 2, ready, play. D, D, C, C, B, B, C, C, D, C, D, C, D, D, C, C, D, C, B, 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 C, 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 D, 2, C, 4, C, 2, D, 4, C, D, 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 C, C, D, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. We're ready to learn a new song, and it is the Brahms Lullaby. We're going to talk about the pickup measure, or most people say pickup notes, that are attached with this song, and then we'll go over the song and then we'll play it together. Okay, let's look at it. When a song starts on another count besides the first count, it's called a pickup measure. This one starts on 3. As you can see by the time signature, it's in 3/4 time. So we're going to be counting 1, 2, 3. Only in this case, I'm going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and, because there are several eighth notes in there, and I don't want you to get confused on the counting. So we're going to start this song on 3 and then you go right back to 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now remember, you don't stop or pause in between those bar lines. You don't want the song to have a hitch in the giddy up, so to speak. You want it to go smoothly and keep counting in an even way. If it's going too fast and you can't keep up with it, then just count slower, but try not to pause in between your measures. Okay, this song is playing with both hands now. You have a G down there on the bottom, so at the same time you play the G on top, you're playing a G at the bottom. There's another note at the bottom, and you can see how they line up. I have the left hand notes on the first count of each measure. So you know when you start a new measure that you're going to be playing a note with your left hand. Now, let's try this song very slowly together. Well, let me see. First, I want to go over the ending here. When you have a pickup measure at the beginning, you start on the third count. Well, in music, everything's supposed to come out evenly, and so at the end, you only have 2 counts to make up for this one you used up here. So if you think this is wrong, it's not, because there's a count up there that we used. Okay, are you ready to go over this song? Let's get our harps all set and we'll try it together. We're going to go through this song one line at a time because it does have bracketing, and I want to make sure you know how to place your fingers before we play the entire song. So let's look at it. The first pickup measure and the first of the second measure there has 2 and 1 in a bracket. So you want to make sure your fingers are put away. Just use the edge of 2 and your thumb should be up. And it would be, and then you replay that again. And then the last part of that line is 3 and 2 placed like that. Then the second line, you lay all your fingers down. See that big long bracket goes all the way down to 4. Then you have 3, 2, 1. On the second page, the top line up here, you have 3 and 2 again. Oops, excuse me. It's a D. Then you have B, A, G. You together in a bracket, and then B and C. Now, if you look at the end of this line and the beginning of that line, you see it goes from middle C to the higher C, and that goes in a bracket. So it's a big stretch. Then you go ahead and place those 2 and 3. Now we're on the last line. You got that big stretch again. Okay, and then you got 2 and 3. And then the last of it is all 4 together. And that's it. Now we're going to try the whole song very slowly. We're going to play this song together now very, very slowly. Make sure your fingers are up there. You need your 2 finger and your thumb, and the rest of your fingers all put away, and your wrist is nice and straight. And I'm going to give us a 1, 2, 3, ready, play. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, play. Next we're going to talk about the tie. And the tie is something that is very common in music, and you will be seeing it all the time as you play. This song is called the traditional morning song, or you might know it as Morning Has Broken. The tie is found down here at the bottom of the first page and at the end of the song here on the last page. What the tie does, it allows you to hold the note for a longer time without playing it again. So you see this note. Now it looks a lot like a slur. So a tie connects 2 notes that are the same note. If they aren't the same note, then it's not a tie. It's probably a slur or some kind of a emphasis marking. Okay, this is a dotted half note, so it gets 3 counts. And then you're going to hold that for another 3 counts. Now again, when you hold a note on the harp, you can't physically hold that note like you can on a piano. If you were playing a piano, you would hold that key down on the keyboard that full amount of time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or a count of 6. When you're playing the harp, you strike it the one time, and then you just count all of those counts. So that's all there is to a tie, and there's another one there. But it's important that you learn that because you're going to be seeing it a lot. Now we're going to talk about this song, the traditional morning song. Again, you have 2 hands playing here. Your left hand has not got too much to play, but it also has a tie, same time as your right hand has a tie, and there are notes here and there for your left hand. Your right hand is not playing in sequence, it's playing every other note. Actually, this is an arpeggio of a C chord that we're going to learn later. C, E, G, and it's the beginning phrase of Morning Has Broken, as you know that song. So it starts out placed 3, 2, 1, and then a 2, 1, then a 1, 2, 3, and then a 2 by itself, and it kind of continues on in that same fashion throughout the song. So again, print this out so that you can practice it on your own, and when you feel like you're ready, we're going to play this song together. Okay, now we're going to play this morning hymn together. We're going to go very slowly, and I'm going to give us a 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. You're going to have your 3rd finger on C, 2nd finger on E, and your thumb on G. The rest of your fingers are put away, nice straight wrist. Remember to keep your thumb up high So you can put it down over your knuckle and not like this. Don't turn your hand over. Keep it up. Not like that, but keep it up so your wrist is straight and so you're playing with that edge of your finger. Palms pointed down. Okay, here we go. Your left hand has notes too, so get it ready to play. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. One, two, three. Excellent. Our last song for Lesson 3 is Spring from the Four Seasons, and it's a classical piece. Again, this is a very simplified version of Spring, and it starts on a pickup note. This time it starts on the 4th count, and it ends with 3 counts to make up for that. Also, I have added a double note here. This is called a third. It's an E and a G, and it's played together. Now the technique for playing that is this. You have second finger on E, thumb on G, and you just pop it off, kind of like twisting the lid on a ketchup bottle. And when you do that motion, it'll put your first finger away like it's supposed to, and your thumb also will go right over that knuckle. There are also some double notes for your left hand in the song, and it's done the same way. Just twist the lid off that ketchup bottle. Okay, you can always tell a third because it's a piggyback note. It's right on top of the note below it. And you can tell those every time. And they're going to have one note between them. Every time. E and G, C and E, C and E, C and E. Okay, let's try this song. And I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, ready, play. We're going to go very slowly. So hopefully you've printed this out and you've looked it over, got your placing practiced a little bit, so you're ready to go. Okay, here we go. Get your left hand finger ready to play also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, ready, play. Very good. That concludes Lesson 3. Join me next time for Lesson 4 when I'll be using my 5-octave Aberdeen Meadows harp. See you then.